Hello my friends, I hope you're doing well today, and welcome back to another episode of r/ProRevenge, where you guys come to hear stories of people getting what they deserve. Guys, there's going to be two stories in this one. The first story is a sweet revenge on a choosing beggar couple, and the second is a guy who tries to extort two ex-cops. My goodness. I hope you stay for the stories today, and do hit that subscribe button for future videos. This first story is titled, I Want the One in the Picture, Dammit. This happened about 5 years ago, when I was selling cars on a Saturday just before lunch. I sold a car to my first customer of the day, which any car guy will tell you that if you can get one out by 11 on a Saturday, you should almost be mad if you don't get a hat trick, which is a $150 bonus. I'd already gotten some free money in the morning meeting for a couple of perfect surveys, and my sale was the first of the day for the store, which happened to be a spiff that day, so I'm riding high, having already put $500 in my pocket before noon, with a real shot at doubling it before they turned out the lights. It's gonna be a good day, I thought. I just finished stocking my fresh trade and collecting my first sales spiff, when the receptionist comes to my desk and says, Hey, OP, you're really good with weird, angry, and weirdly angry customers, yeah? I replied, Yeah, I guess that's me, what have we got? That couple over there, that looks like it's taking too long for the guy at Jimmy John's to make their sandwiches, is looking for a new car. I sigh, and put on my sunny customer service face and greet the couple. They're older, but not old, mid-50s. They're aloof and condescending as I bring them to an empty desk, as my desk was on the used side, and offer coffee. They scoff and decline until they see the big fancy cappuccino machine. The wife looks at me expectantly as I sit down, inviting her to help herself, reassuring her that it's a very intuitive machine with several options, but I'll be happy to help if she has any problems. Hubby, choosing beggar 1 for dialogue, hands me a folder. Inside is a printout from the website, and he says, I'd like to purchase this truck, please, at the advertised price. I say, Excellent. Before we discuss rebates, let me double check that we still have the vehicle in stock. It'll only take a minute. He interrupts me and says, You don't know your own inventory? This is very unprofessional. Hey honey, he says he probably doesn't even have it in stock. Looks like we might have come all the way down here for nothing. I told you, we should have gone across town to the other one. I can tell this is going to be fun. I mindlessly apologize and explain that we have 18 salespeople and over 650 cars on the lot at any given time. And we've sold many cars today, so I need to make sure it's not sold. He scoffed and told me to hurry up with it. With luck, I check the key track and see that the key's checked in and politely excuse myself to pull the truck around. In retrospect, I wish I'd have paid more attention to the listing, as it would have saved some pain, but I just pulled the stock number, verified availability, and pulled it around. Alright, let's take a look. They follow me outside, and I start my walk around. The husband says, This is the wrong truck. I asked, Well, what do you mean? This is the truck from the listing you gave me. Christ, no it's not. The listing I gave you was for a white, long bed King Ranch. This is a silver XLT. I get that reading is hard, but you'd think even a domestic car salesman would know his colors. I replied, First of all, there's no such thing as a $30,000 King Ranch, and you clearly know that. And second, I don't appreciate being insulted. Clearly there's been a mistake. Let's go back inside and figure it out. The husband then tells me, You have to honor your advertised price. It's the law. My wife is a lawyer. His wife chimes in and says, I'm a lawyer and I'll eat you alive, and you have to honor what you advertise. I told them, Look, there's no need to get hostile. I don't get paid unless you buy, so it's in my interest to work this out. I assume our web developer made a mistake with the pictures, but let me investigate and we'll go from there. As I suspected, every word of text on the listing pointed to an XLT, as did the window sticker link. The web guy mixed up the pictures. I found the pictured truck, which had a sticker price more than $20,000 higher with fewer rebates. I printed both stickers and the fine print disclaimer at the bottom of every listing and spent 20 minutes explaining, trying to talk sense, and fielding a myriad of threats and insults. Things have gotten nasty, and I was ready to fire them. But when I went to grab the stickers, the last thing I heard from the desk was, Don't you dare cut them loose. Sell them a truck. I take it straight to the GM at this point, who comes out, takes one look at these people and decides it's not worth it, and personally delivers a pencil showing a real money $6,000 loss with the invoice backing it up. We're still like $17,000 apart, and they're holding ground, still threatening litigation despite knowing that they have no leg to stand on. They basically knew that they were practically stealing the truck they wanted at the advertised price due to the advertising mistake. Our store is part of the third largest group in the world at the time, so we had lawyers too. We happened to have the exact truck they were trying to buy on the used lot. One model year older, 21,000-ish miles, certified pre-owned, listed at $36,999. I flipped them to that one, and we moved to the used side. And the husband says, "Used? Do we look poor to you?" "Sir, I can assure you this used one is in great condition, and you can save a lot of money on the truck." I show them the truck, and hubby is failing miserably at hiding his excitement by the end of the test drive. My GM had told me to call him before I presented a pencil, so I did. And to my chagrin, he cut the nuts off it and had me present at $32,999 to see if they'll bite. They're still fixated on $30,000, and here we pick up the conversation. The husband says, "I don't care what the price you're selling it at is. I want to know what you paid for it, and then we'll negotiate an offset from there." I told him, "No, that's not something you get to know. You don't demand to know cost on anything else you buy. Even if you weren't stealing this truck, and you absolutely are, my time isn't free. His wife chimes in and says, "Oh, I'm sorry. I forgot that people come to a dealership to make it all about you. I forgot it's all about you crooks and how you want to maximize profit. We want a great price, and we're not there yet, so do better." I told her that you absolutely are at a great price, and given the abuse that I've endured, you're out of your mind if you think I'm gonna budge a cent off this price. I have a baby at home and I need this commission. I know this next comment is gonna sound embellished, but I swear to Jeebus it's verbatim. The husband says, "I couldn't care less if your baby lives or dies. Take 1,000 off," or me, holding back my rage, says, "We're done here." "What?" "You heard me, we're done. Take your stuff and go." "No, I'm buying a truck." I told him that no, you're not. I've been patient, and you've crossed the line by being so disrespectful towards me and my child. So get out, right now. His wife then says, "Ugh, typical." They stood up, and I half-herded, half-shoved them out of my regular office and out of the building. I immediately got lit up by the desk managers, and I let them speak their piece. I told them what was said, and suddenly, we were a united front. I was shaking. I was so angry, so I was given a shot of desk whiskey, and told to remain in the tower until the whiskey worked and I'd calm down. I was still there when the husband called about 20 minutes later to bitch about how he was treated, and he caught an earful from my manager. He still wanted the truck, and my manager still wanted to sell it, so he put the guy on hold and asked me, "Hey, OP, I've got to sell this truck. What do you want me to do? I'll do the paperwork if you want, but you're still gonna have to deliver." I told him, "Sure. Just tell him his price expired when he got himself tossed, and there's no negotiations when he comes back. If he wants the truck, he'll pay what we ask. Don't tell him the price and mark it up $2,500. He laughed, nodded, and set it up. The husband comes back, and I got the deal jacket ready, brushed off his feigned apology, and made him fill out the credit app in silence before I showed him the buyer's order. He said, "This is way higher than it was before." I replied, "Yes, sir, it is. Sign here." "But why?" "Sign or go home." He glared at me. I stared into his eyes and didn't say a word for a good 30 seconds, and then he picked up the pen and signed. I remained cold but professional through delivery. He remained crude and disrespectful every time I spoke with him, but he ended up being my biggest source of referrals. Evidently, he told everybody he knew about me charging him an inflated price on this amazing deal of a truck, and that made his circle want to buy from me. Over the next year, I sold 7 cars to people he knew. If anyone's interested, I did make my hat trick that day, but it didn't come until shortly after close. Yeah, so this story reminds me of my first job at a car dealership right out of high school. I used to work at Honda, and I have so much respect for car salesmen, and people that work in retail who deal with crappy people on a regular basis. So I'll never forget this one stupid old man who basically told me to my face that I needed him. He was like, "Listen, kid, I know you're young, you have no money, and you need my money. And do you know how you're gonna get this money? By selling me this car." He was a total asshat about it. He was so condescending and arrogant, trying to get a $15,000 Honda Civic down to $9,000. What commission am I gonna get if you try to get a $15,000 Honda Civic down to $9,000? Like, am I gonna get $10 or what? Like, there's gonna be no commission out of that, sir. And he went to another Honda dealership because apparently we had horrible salespeople that wouldn't give him a $6,000 discount. This next story is titled, "If you're gonna try your hand at extortion, be smarter than on the ex-cops you're trying it on." To start with, my family owns a construction company. We develop tracks and build nice homes for low-income families. But anyone in construction knows there's some great people who work construction and some that are pretty shifty. So one day, my father was in his office when one of the secretaries came in and told him that there was a really strange call for him. He answers and is immediately told by the voice on the other end of the line that if he doesn't pay $50,000, the voice would tell the authorities there were dead bodies hidden in the track's trenches. So a couple of things. My dad is ex-law enforcement, and so is his brother, our site foreman. Both are even-tempered but shrewd men. So my father, who smells the BS right away, calmly says, "You'll have to call back," and hangs up the phone. He then pulls out a tape recorder from his desk and calls both the secretary and the accountant in with pens and notepads. The phone rings again, and my dad puts it on speaker. As the guy threatens my father to never hang up on him again, my father hits record and mimes writing, so the staff will transcribe everything the guy says. Over the course of the conversation, the voice lays everything out, the amount, the drop-off point, and the proof that the bodies weren't there. My father tells him to call back in an hour, as the money will take some time to get. The voice agrees and hangs up. Then my father calls the police. He plays the tape from them, shows them the matching transcripts, and tells the cops the time and place for the pickup. The cops apparently have better things to do, so they blow it off as a prank. This doesn't sit well with my father, so he calls my uncle and the two of them get to work. After the hour's up, the call comes in. My father has a pretty good idea of who it is that's making the calls. It's the backhoe operator that we had a pretty good working relationship with. So my father just addresses him by name. We'll call him Donnie. So he tells Donnie there's been a snag and that they need to meet in 10 minutes in the parking lot near his office. You know, someplace public. And Donnie agrees. So my father and uncle, both with CC permits, grab their pistols and head out. I got to hear what happened next because my father brought the tape recorder to ensure they could clear their names. When the guy who picked up the money inevitably said they were innocent, this tape was hilarious. The voice on it says, "Are you Jack?" Dad replies, "Yeah, how do you know Donnie?" "You know, a friend of a friend of a friend." "So, you know you're basically an accomplice in a felony, right?" The voice demands the package, and my dad says, "Move in." At this point, my uncle draws his gun. We hear the voice screaming, and the car turns on, and my uncle says, "Get him." There's a sound of a scuffle, followed by swearing and the honking of the horn as my father bounces the guy's head 3 times off the steering wheel. So my father and uncle bring this bloodied guy into the police station in cuffs. The cops are gobsmacked, but listen to the recording and decide to do their job. My father points out that Donnie's still out there, but again, the cops have an easy slam dunk on the guy, so they don't want to go out again. Fine. But once again, this didn't sit well with my father. So the next day, he and my uncle go for a little drive. It turns out that Donnie lived 45 minutes away from the drop-off site, and my father was 100% sure that Donnie wouldn't trust his partner in crime with $50,000. So they figured he was nearby. Sure enough, after driving by the parking lot of the hotels in a 5-mile radius, they find Donnie's truck. They go in and find out what room it was in, and then call the cops to update them, then ask if they're gonna come out and get him, or should they bring him in like they did yesterday. This time, the police decide to come out. After everything was said and done, Donnie admitted to everything. and he ended up spending some time in prison. My father and uncle still relish the story, and to this day will chuckle when they remember bouncing that guy's head off the steering wheel. Donnie's definitely an idiot. Seriously, who asks for $50,000 in cash and actually has somebody pick up the money in broad daylight? Guys, I've watched a lot of movies, and I'm pretty sure 100% of the time in movies, when you come pick up large amounts of money, oh, you're gonna get screwed over. You always get screwed over. I'd love to hear the recording that OP said they got. And that's it for this episode of r/ProRevenge. If you guys enjoyed that story, hit the thumbs up. If you're unsubscribed, be sure to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on future revenge stories. And I'll see you guys in the next one.